a good reason for sitting around on my couch. Got a good reason for sitting around on my couch. 'Cause I'm a day drinker. Ice cold 6-packs, yeah. It takes me so long to pass out. I'll pass out. The COVID's a big scare. I'm drinking but not smoking dope. Vaccine is out there, but I don't give it much hope. So I'm a day drinker. Margaritas, yeah. It takes me so long to pass out. I'll pass out. Not staying sober. Looking for something high proof. Morning is over. The afternoon's always a goof. So I'm a day drinker. Whiskey shooters, yeah. It takes me so long to pass out. I'll 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 pass out. This is Insane Sam, and I'm going to take you to my top 10 favorite Route 66 bars, plus a bunch of honorable mentions. All right, number 10 is the Full Throttle Saloon in Carlinville, Illinois. The Full Throttle is an old school biker spot, but everyone in town, even the people who've never been on a motorcycle, are going to tell you that the food is great. About 5 years ago, I was in there with some of my Deacons of Deadwood Motorcycle Club brothers on a Thursday night. They had a live band in there for us, they had burnouts, they had shooters, they had a bunch of big stuff. We wound up signing a bunch of chicks' bras and boobs and stuff, and we let those chicks sign us too. We drank shots of Crown Royal out of belly buttons of some of the chicks, and when the place was closed, we all went down to the St. George Room in downtown Carlinville. Number 9 is Johnny's in St. James, Missouri. Johnny's been serving booze for over 50 years. When you go into the place, they have a little sign with about 20 people listed on there who've been banned from entry. I asked the bartender, what do you got to do to get banned? And she said, quite a lot actually. Didn't give me any other explanation. Well, it turns out mostly what you have to do is get in fights. And since at least half the people on the list were chicks, they must have some rough chicks that hang around in that place. Inside, it's a smoky one-room box with nicotine-stained walls. Everybody smokes. Pool is the popular game. Everybody has their own pool cues. This would be Eddie Felson's heaven. Wonderful place. Number 8's another biker joint. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Eds Hurricane Lounge. Ed's another smoky old school kind of biker place, and they have live music sometimes on the weekends. The bartenders are usually biker chicks with big breastises, and they're not shy about flashing, especially when shooters are involved. The place is very nice, local crowd, but very nice people, not hardcore, but old school. Number 7 is from Springfield, Illinois, the Handlebar. Now Springfield has a bunch of biker bars on a strip right down the middle of Route 66. And the Handlebar, which used to be called Dog Saloon, is my favorite. It has a rowdy biker crowd. Route 66 passes right by the front door, and some of the original bricks that they used to pave Route 66 are there. They gave me one of the bricks and I have it at home. They have bike parking and a patio out back, and they often smoke ribs and cook burgers and stuff like that over there. Now number 6 is a wild one, the American Bar in Gallup, New Mexico. The 3 big things at the American Bar are drinking whiskey, playing pool, and drinking more whiskey. This may be the most dangerous place on my Route 66 top 10 list. They have a policeman out front on the weekends who frisks you to make sure you don't have any weapons. I always feel when I'm in there that there's going to be some kind of spontaneous eruption that might blow up without any provocation. The bar area itself is kind of small, and the bar stools are bolted to the floor, probably so they can't be used as weapons. But this is a good old-fashioned Middle America bar. And by the way, if you want to meet some Navajos, this is the place for you. It's full of them. Now number 5 is the Monte Vista Bar in Flagstaff, Arizona. This is an eclectic place. It seems like something out of the 60s. Not because of the place, but because of the customers. It's hipster city in there. I was in there one night and they were having karaoke. I sang Kip Attaway's version of Petula Clark's song Downtown and won a $250 first prize. Now Kip's words are different than the usual words and they're kind of nasty, but you know, that's the charm of the song, and that's why I won. But the very next night I sang the same song in Goodfellas Bar in Gallup, New Mexico, and I got kicked out of the place. Obviously the Monte Vista is a cooler place. Okay, the Canyon Club in Williams, Arizona is number 4. There are a bunch of great bars in Williams, but this is kind of where the locals go. It's kind of rowdy in there, good action and stuff. They have cocktails and dancing. I was in there one afternoon 3 or 4 years ago, and they were singing Happy Birthday to some 73-year-old guy. A bit later, I ran into the guy, and he came up to me and said, "How's it going, old timer?" I'm thinking, screw you, man. I'm at least 10 years younger than you. But I bought him a double shot of wild turkey, and I got one for myself. They don't drink pussy shooters in Arizona, and I wound up having a good talk with the guy. Now, number 3 is the Rustic Saloon in Wilmington, Illinois. The Rustic Saloon's the home of Rex the freeze-dried dog. Here's what happened with Rex. Rex died about 20 years ago, and the owner loved the dog so much he didn't want to lose him, so he put him in the freezer at his restaurant there. When health inspectors would come, he'd take the dog out until the inspection was over, then back into the freezer Rex would go. Well, this went on so long that Rex finally kind of dried out. It's kind of a freeze-dried dog, and they got him sitting on the piano in there. Now, this is a cool bar, and they got a great outside place in the back with a full bar out there where they have live bands and stuff, beautiful grass, great place. Number 2 is Our Place in Pasadena, California. Our Place has character that's been earned rather than being manufactured. It used to be the kind of place you'd expect to see Paul Drake off of Perry Mason. They have turquoise leather booths, and the bartenders used to wear those little bitty vests that were popular in cocktail lounges, you know, back in the 60s and stuff. These days, the crowd's, you know, a mix of older regulars, younger folks who want to break from the PC places and the trendier places in Pasadena and stuff like that. It's also used to be a big Mongols motorcycle club hangout, but they won't let you in there with patches anymore. Anyway, it's a great bar. Number 1's the 49er Bar in Gallup, New Mexico. The 49er Bar is inside the El Rancho Hotel in Gallup, New Mexico. First time I ever came across this place, it was the first time I'd ever been to Gallup, like 30 years ago, before I knew anything about Route 66. I checked into a Holiday Inn down the street, really at the other end of town, and started wandering around Gallup. I ran into the El Rancho Hotel and decided to go in. Turned out it had an unbelievably great lobby and an even better bar. So I zipped back over to the Holiday Inn, checked out, paid my fee there, checked into the El Rancho. Went into the bar and had a great time all afternoon. Turns out Esquire magazine ranked it as one of the top dive bars in the country. It also turns out that the El Rancho was started in 1939 by a relative of D.W. Griffith's, who was a famous movie producer back then. And all the movie stars, when they were filming in New Mexico, would stay at the El Rancho. Well, I started staying at the El Rancho all the time too, during all my years of traveling up and down Route 66. And then I finally started going there during Thanksgiving weekend. The owner back then was a guy named Armand Ortega, and the head bartender was someone named Dahlia. And here's a picture of Armand and Dahlia and my friend Ricky Cook, who was traveling with me at the time, and Dahlia's son. You gotta love a guy from New Mexico wearing a New York Yankees hat. Well, anyway, Armand and Dahlia would open the bar for Ricky and me every year so we could watch the Ole Miss Mississippi State football game. And we'd go in there and drink beer all afternoon, watch the game, then go into the restaurant and have Thanksgiving dinner in there. Well, unfortunately, Armando died a few years ago, and Dahlia no longer works there. She works at a casino down the road now. But I still go to the El Rancho every time I'm in Gallup, and whether I'm staying in Gallup or not, I always stop by and have at least a couple at the 49er Bar. This is a place you don't want to miss. Now I got a bunch of good honorable mentions for you. The Corner Keg in Braidwood, Illinois is a small place with great food at a good price. Chubbies Bar and Grill in Atlanta has an eclectic crowd for a town the size of Atlanta. It has a limited food menu, but the wild thing is there's a group of bikers that come there from Norway every year. What these guys do is they fly to Chicago, buy brand new Harley Davidsons, drive them all the way to LA, sell the bikes in LA, then fly back to Norway. And they always stop at Chubbies on the way through. The St. George Room in Carlinville is the oldest bar in Carlinville. It's in an old hotel that once was a brothel. Great spot. The Stagger Inn in Edwardsville, Illinois is a great bar, but the restaurant's good enough to earn an honorable mention on my top 10 restaurant list. They have live music in there all the time. This is a fairly upscale place, good spot. The Luna Cafe in Mitchell, Illinois was an Al Capone hangout. It has one of the coolest signs on Route 66. The deal was, if the cherry in the light was lit up, you'd know that there were hookers on the premises. These days it's got a pretty rough crowd. The East Office Bar and Grill in Cuba, Missouri is kind of a popular family-oriented place. The food is bar fare, but it's pretty good food, but the jukebox is fantastic, all classic rock. Hopper's Pub in Waynesville, Missouri is a bit spare inside, but it has decent food and is a good place to watch sports. Bernie's Route 66 Cafe in Avila has been a Route 66 staple for years. It's a big stopping point for all these international travelers and stuff. Pretty good local bar. Jim's Bar in Carthage, Missouri has been around for 40 years. It's a good bar but no food, and it's supposed to be haunted. And if you Google it, you can find a YouTube video that shows an orb, you know, going around all around the place at night. Pretty neat spot. Turtleheads in Joplin, Missouri, sort of a Jimmy Buffett kind of deal. They have a nice outdoor patio in the back. You sit around and drink beer and rum drinks. Hogs Hot Rods in Joplin is a small biker joint right on the Missouri-Kansas border. On the weekend they have biker games like pudding wrestling and weenie bites. It only has beer and wine, but you know, I like pudding wrestling, so it's good to go in for there. Okay, in Tulsa they have Double Shots Bar. This used to be called the 11th Street Pub. Big biker spot, good spot. The Horseshoe Bar in Yukon, Oklahoma is a beer joint that's been around since 1906. They have some autographed photos of Mickey Mantle, Rocky Marciano, and Barry Switzer in there. Good local joint in there too. Smokey Joes in Amarillo is the best of the Amarillo biker joints on Route 66. It attracts a lot of motorcycles and vintage car kind of good guys. The food's good, but it's beer only. The Lizard Lounge in Tucumcari is the only bar in Tucumcari. They also have a restaurant, and the restaurant's pretty good. There are a lot of photos from Tucumcari in there from peak years of Route 66. It's a kind of a neat historic place. Silva Saloon in Bernalillo, New Mexico, opened the day Prohibition ended. It's been family owned and operated ever since, and it has a still that was used early on to make peach brandy for its customers. Good spot. The library in Albuquerque is down on Central Avenue in the heart of Route 66 in Albuquerque. It's a good place to watch sports on weekends, and the bartenders wear these little schoolgirl outfits that are kind of good. Food's good, the beer's cold. The Midway Bar in Budwayville is the only bar on the original alignment of Route 66 between Mesita and Grants. It's the sole survivor of the bars that used to be in ghost towns all along this part of Route 66, and it's a pretty good place. In Winslow, Arizona, you can go to the Turquoise Room that's inside the La Posada Hotel. They have a martini bar in there, and the bartenders are a bit obsequious, but they know what they're doing. The only downers you can't eat right at the bar. PT's Lounge in Winslow is sort of a hybrid between a country place and a biker place. They have their own weekend-long biker rally each summer, and they play a lot of country music in there. The Sultana in Williams, Arizona has been in continuous operation in the same building since 1906, which is 6 years before Arizona became a state. It has the oldest liquor license in Arizona. The atmosphere's Old West. There must be an original tin ceiling must be 15 feet high. They got wild game trophies like a moose, a mountain lion, a caribou, and an elk. This is a really neat place. The Black Cat Bar in Seligman is open from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sometimes it's rowdy, sometimes it's Deadsville, USA, but it's the only thing going on in Seligman. Now, the Oatman Hotel Bar is a rustic place that's always busy. The beer's cold, and the food's good. It has the only air conditioning for miles around in California. It's a good stop-off. Needles, California is the second hottest place in the country behind Death Valley. But you can go to the Red Dog Saloon in Needles. It's got a small bar in the front and a bigger room on the side where they have bands. Nice local crowd, good cold beer. The Iron Hog in Oro Grande, California seems to be open and closed all the time, and you never know when you go by. It started as a Wells Fargo switching station in the 1890s, but it's been a bar since the 1930s. Roy Rogers used to hang out there, and he carved his initials into the bar. And then there's the Screaming Chicken Saloon in San Bernardino. The sign out front says, "Hot babes, not for posers, rubs, or wannabes," and they mean it. This place has stripper poles in there, and they sell pasties to chicks who want to dance on the stripper poles but didn't bring their own pasties with them. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Anyway, it's another beer-only place. So that's the end of my honorable mentions for best bars. Go up and down Route 66. There's a bunch of places I hadn't mentioned, but you'll find your favorites too. Insane Sam out.